One of the biggest culprits you'll face while troubleshooting redistribution into EIGRP is the metric. Why is that? Because the metric by default is set to infinity, which means unreachable. Therefore, since the routes that are being redistributed are considered unreachable, they will not be redistributed. It's up to you as an administrator to manually set the seed metric that will be applied at the redistribution point. And you can do that in 3 different ways. The way they show you here is with the default metric command. Under the router EIGRP process, you specify the bandwidth, delay, reliability, load, MTU values that will go into the calculation for the feasible distance. However, you also have the ability to specify these values while inputting the redistribution command. So you can type in redistribute OSPF1 metric, bandwidth, delay, reliability, load, MTU. And lastly, you could use a route map. So you can specify the metric inside of the route map and define the bandwidth, delay, reliability, load, and MTU. Now, what if all 3 have been specified? What is the order that is preferred? Well, the route map is preferred over the redistribute command, which is preferred over the default metric command. So that's the order. So if you're troubleshooting anything related to maybe suboptimal EIGRP routing, when you have multiple exit points out of the EIGRP autonomous system and traffic's not doing what you're expecting it to do, double check to see what the values have been set on each of those routers, because you might have a bad metric set under a route map when you were expecting the metric that was configured under redistribute command to apply. Well, it's not going to apply because there's a route map attached as well. So that might be the reason there. But how can you verify these values? Well, whether you are checking on the default metric command or the redistribute command, this is how you verify it. Show running config pipe to section EIGRP. However, if you're using a route map, then you're going to have to verify the route map. So show route map and the route map name if you want to take a look at that specific route map, and then browse through the different sequence numbers and find where that particular metric is being applied. Over on R3 and our topology, we can see we're doing redistribution from OSPF into EIGRP. Let's look at the output of show IP protocols to verify that. And we can see from this output that we are redistributing OSPF1. There's not a whole lot of information here. That's all it says. We're redistributing OSPF1. So we'll have to look at the output of show run pipe to section router EIGRP. Once I look at this output, we'll see our full redistribute command. So redistribute OSPF1, there's the metric that has been specified. So if we go over to R1, we'll see that we have learned about all those different OSPF routes. So IP route, and there they are right there. They're all right there. But now let's see what happens if the metric is not specified. So I want to show you what it's going to look like. Configure terminal. We'll go into router EIGRP configuration mode. Paste it in. And we'll say no redistribute OSPF1 metric. And then we'll say redistribute OSPF1. So we're still redistributing OSPF1. We can see that right there. And if we look at the output of show IP protocols, it's still telling us we are. Look at our output of our running config, show run, pipe to section, router EIGRP. Again, it says we're redistributing OSPF1 right there. Is it really redistributing it though? No, look at R1. If we look at R1, we no longer have our external routes. None of them are listed. None. Simply because we forgot that metric. And if we examine R3's topology table, show IP EIGRP topology, we'll see that they're not listed in there either. So R3 is not taking the routes from the routing table and putting them in the topology table. Show IP route, are they listed in the routing table on R3? Yeah, they are. They're OSPF learned routes. They're OSPF learned routes right here. But they're not being redistributed because we forgot to set a metric. So let's do that. Configure terminal, router, EIGRP 100, and then we are redistributing OSPF1 metric 10,000. So there's the bandwidth, delay, we'll say 100. We'll say reliability, we're 100% reliable. We have, let me see, very minimal load on it, and our MTU is 1500. So now that we specified the metric, when we look at the output of show IP EIGRP topology, we can see now those routes are redistributed into EIGRP. They're redistributed. They're all listed there as redistributed routes. Go over to R1, and R1 now has those externally learned routes from R3's redistribution process. So it's imperative that you specify a metric with EIGRP.